Well, then let's get started. Today, we're going to start the board meeting for the Troy Industrial... Are we live? Yeah, we're live. We're going to start the board meeting for the Troy Industrial Development Authority. It is December 20th, 2024, 10:08 a.m. We are going to start with opening the floor for the public hearing for 200 Broadway, otherwise known as the Hendrick Hudson Building. We have put this in the paper last week. We are opening the floor to any public comment online. I see there's 2 people attending, or anyone present. So at this point, we'll open the floor. If you would like to speak, please introduce yourself, first and last name, and if you don't mind, just where you're coming from or who you're representing. We'll give it another minute for the folks on the phone if anybody wants to speak up. Everyone's here for... Okay.
We can close it for now. I think
yeah,
we discussed possibly reopening the public hearing for this one in January for consideration of the final approval if the board wants to put it forward, and we'll talk about that more during the open session.
We sometimes jump around the agenda when we have project resolutions like this for these meetings. In discussion with Justin and Randy and their further discussions with the representatives for 200 Broadway this morning, we are going to push the project authorizing resolution into January. That being said, the public hearing will be back open at that meeting. That announcement will go out. But since we have them here, and even though this falls under old business, I'm understanding that they have a possible presentation to show or discussion, so we're going to open the floor to them, and then we'll jump back in line for the meeting and go through the rest of everything. But just so everyone knows, we're not voting on the project authorizing resolution today. It's just a brief summary, like it just was a race to get everything done, and we want to come back better suited for it in January at that meeting. So I'll open the floor to the folks for Hendrick Hudson Building.
I do have a presentation. I don't know if it's possible to put it.
Yes.
Thank you. Take your time.
The other one? Yeah. Okay. You could just go to, can't see from back here. Yeah. I think, let's see. Just go to slideshow right up here. From beginning.
Rope.
Yeah, just give it a go if you hit okay. Our font just might be a little bit off, but bear with me. Good morning. First off, thank you for having us here today, and happy holidays. I know it's a crazy time of year for everybody trying to get together. My name is Amber Mathias. I'm the Director of Project Development for Venatio, here representing the ownership group of Hendrick Hudson LLC. I have here with me today Andy Brett, who's our counsel, Libby Clark, who is our CEO of Venatio, our lucky intern for the season, Cam Darrow. I grabbed him, put him in the car this morning, so he's very excited to be here. And if you have any questions, please direct them to him this morning. What we thought would be effective today, we really haven't had a chance to do this yet, is just provide a brief narrative to the public and to you as the board so there was a clear understanding of the history of this building and the proposed project that the ownership group is looking to move forward with. So if you'd like, we can go to the next slide. So, the ownership group, Hendrick Hudson Building LLC, purchased the building Hendrick Hudson back in 2017. I think most of you are familiar with this building. It's at 200 Broadway. This building is approximately 80,000 square feet. At the time of our purchase, the intent was that this would be a mixed-use commercial residential building, and that is still our intent. The current building, the way it sits today, is the first floor is 100% occupied with 4 commercial tenants. I think most of you are probably familiar with, especially Flagers. That's one of our primary tenants there. We have Engine 7 Design, we have Schmaltz Brewing, and Asian Fusion as well. So that is 100% occupied on the first floor. The 5th, 6th, and 7th floor are also currently commercial office space that is vacant. That is the project I'll get to later on that we are looking to renovate into residential units. Currently, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floor are residential apartments that sit at 92.3% occupied for a total of 26 residential apartments. Go to the next slide. Just a brief history of, the project improvements that have been done to this building. Back in 2017, when the property was purchased, we focused on the conversion of the 3rd and 4th floor into residential apartments. The 1st, 2nd, 5th, 6th, and 7th floors remained commercial. In 2022, due to increased commercial vacancies, we ended up converting the 2nd floor into 9 residential units, and that brings us to our total of the 26 units that we currently have on site. Currently, today, what we are proposing as a renovation is to convert the 5th, 6th, and 7th floor into residential units. And on the bottom there, you'll see just a brief history of the investment that this ownership group has made into the property, which, if we move forward with this renovation, will be a total of about $14.5 million. This is just a brief summary of the renovation that we're proposing in the time frame of what we've been moving through. Back in, I believe it was July, we originally put in our application. We're seen by the Planning Commission for a change of use for those 3 floors. It was approved back in September. We are looking to convert that, the 5th, 6th, and 7th floor due to commercial vacancy. It used to be the Attorney General's office was in the 5th and 6th floor. They actually moved out back in August 2023. We have been unsuccessful, despite many efforts, to be able to find a viable tenant for that space. So based on the need in Troy for market rate apartment housing and the way that this project and the rest of our buildings in Troy are performing, we felt as a group that the best conversion of this would be to move to residential apartments. This will be a mix of 2 and 1 bedrooms. Basically, what we're looking to do is take what we have on the 4th floor and bring it up to the upper 3 floors. Currently, the timeline that we're working on, we actually originally started this discussion with the city back last February. So we've been in the process of trying to move this forward since then, through discussion and collaboration with different people in the city, as well as the Planning Commission, and obviously you guys as the IDA, to try to make this successful. We're hoping, obviously today we heard that this is going to get pushed till January, but we're looking for a quick resolution with the IDA so that we and the ownership group can feel confident that this is a project that's going to be able to move forward. We'll then quickly move into design with our architect. That's about a 3-month process. As most of you know, we are moving forward with historic tax credits on this property as well, which involves collaboration with SHPO and NPS. That layered onto that is about a 60-day process, but it's a back and forth. So all together between design and approvals with SHPO and NPS, it's about 5 months. So January through April is what our goal was. Obviously today we know that that's getting pushed a little bit as well. Construction, we're expecting that to take basically from May to December, hoping then for these new apartments to be ready to rent as of January, February of 2026. Go to the next slide. So this is our finance summary. Honestly, we tried to keep this just really simple. What we need to do to make this financeable is we're refinancing for residential reuse of floors 5, 6, and 7. In order to meet our debt service coverage ratio, this will include a $6.7 million debt and $5.9 million in cash equity from the ownership group. So we're here today. We currently have a pilot on the building. We're asking for an extension on that, a 3-year extension, which would bring the remaining 8 years that we currently have to 10 years. We're asking for mortgage recording tax exemption, and we're asking for sales tax. That kind of takes us through the narrative, and I'd like to welcome any comments, questions from the public or anybody here on the board. We're hoping that helps clarify some of the questions that have come up previously.
Thank you, Amber. Go for it.
Yeah. You mentioned you started conversations with people from the city earlier in the year. Can you confirm which people you had spoken with? Because the IDA, was just recently brought into the mix with this.
We were looking for direction on how to proceed with this project. Mm-hmm. So I believe our letter went directly, was it to the Planning Commission originally, Andy?
The planning commissioner at the time, either in December or January of last year. And then I believe there was a meeting with the staff late winter, February or March. We ended up getting before the planning commission to present our revised site plan in June. That was during the time frame when the planning commission was redone into the planning board. So there wasn't a meeting in June or July or August that we could get back to for final approval. So we appeared before the planning board in September. We were actually the first application before the new planning board, and they approved us in September. And then we immediately applied to the IDA in early October.
And the directive that we were looking for from Planning Commission, and I think we met with the General Counsel as well too.
Correct.
That was direction on how to proceed. What was the proper procedure? So, and we were directed and told that we needed to go to Planning Commission first for approval because the IDA would not be able to review our application until we had approval on our change of use.
Okay.
And to further complicate things, as I'm sure you know, in 2023, the city adopted a new zoning code. Mm-hmm. So there was a legitimate question under the language of the new zoning code whether our proposed interior renovations required planning board review because it was completely inside. It was subsequently determined that the language of the new code does require a site plan amendment, even though it's completely internal. So that's what got us to the planning board review.
And I would just add to that is that we have been having some discussions with the folks from the NACHO on the pilot, but we really just want to be better prepared and work something out that we can present to the board for January.
More time for you to digest in the typical fashion. There's usually a month or so to onboard these things and get some feedback from Albert and others. And this time frame was pretty compressed, and we didn't want to bring you something that wasn't 100% put together and get a bad result. Make sure you guys are comfortable. So we'll put efforts in during the holidays and running into the first week of January to get ready for the 17th.
What's the current balance on your outstanding loan now?
I just have that on this sheet. So there are currently 2 outstanding debts on the property. The balance on our original loan is 3.8. When I start looking at my phone like this, that I realize I'm going to pass this soon. And we also have another loan for 2.2. So those come due. That's part of our refinances, paying that off.
So the new loan is going to be for 6.7?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. That's what we're projecting there. As long as construction prices hold.
Yeah.
I just have apologies, this isn't necessarily related to anything with the IDA, but the State Historic Preservation Office and National Park Service, part of your timeline, is that because is that an amendment to something that you already have with them because you're doing renovation of the building? Or is that a new application for the entire building? Like, can you just explain a little bit about how, like, what will come from that?
Sure, it is a new application. So when we originally started our renovations back in 2017 on the 3rd and 4th floor, we did go for historic tax credits on that piece. That's passed, we passed the 5 years, so now we do need to do a new application, and that will be rolling in what was done on the second floor as well too, because there are certain bases that need to be met in order to qualify for the historic tax credit.
Got it.
So this new application will include the second floor as well as the 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I guess I'm only familiar with like houses, so I didn't know you could split it like that. That's interesting.
So you haven't got the finalized layout of how everything's gonna look yet?
Not exactly, but the floors are pretty much the same as what we have on the 4th floor, so we'll work closely with our property manager to really make sure that we have the right mix that is, the most desirable for what they're renting.
When are you getting it appraised?
So that will be part of our finance with
But you haven't-
whichever lender.
You haven't started that yet?
No.
Oh, okay. Will you have it started by next month?
The hope, I think as we expressed last time when we were here, was to make sure that we understood, our ownership group is really important to understand that the IDA was supportive of this project. Do you want to take that?
Yeah,
Okay.
try to explain the inflection point that we're at, which is right now, if we go to refinance on the existing numbers that were submitted in the application, we can't. If we are able to go to a lender and indicate that these are gonna be for residential use, that refinance is then, eligible for refinance.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
Yeah, you're
assuming you're gonna do this project, that's why you yeah.
Right, but we can't apply we can't even apply for refinance and ask for an appraisal because we know we're gonna be told no on the existing building. So it's the residential use and the approval of the, this board, because sorry, Justin, did you? Oh, I thought I heard something. No. Sorry, guys. This is the last piece that we have to be able to indicate to a lender that these will be apartments. And that's a different NOI and cash flow, review than is currently existing with it being commercial. So that's the inflection point that we're at.
Well, yeah, but wouldn't you apply for the loan based on the project that you're,
But we
the
don't,
projected,
we
what
don't
you're
have-
doing?
we don't know that we have a project. We haven't gotten our approval. We have no idea whether or not, what these numbers will be. We can't put tax numbers in. We just don't have any idea.
Anyway, I'd like to see a copy of the appraisal. I mean, actually, I'd like to see a copy of your last 2 years' tax returns, just to go through the numbers before we meet next month.
We can assemble more due diligence before we
Yeah,
come back.
but, I wanna take a look at them.
It's kind of a chicken and egg thing we're dealing with, and it's,
We get it.
Well, it's a
We're on the same
negotiation
spot.
thing, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
back and forth, we're going with these numbers, and I wanna see what's,
Yeah, we're in the same exact spot.
with the benefit of a few more weeks, we'll be able to digest things. And I
We
think
understand.
that's- Yeah.
Like the known knowns, the known unknowns, the knowns, it's just for us, we're in an inflection point. We know we can't take a step forward where we are.
Is the 7th floor, it was mentioned that, I hadn't thought of that, but the Attorney General was on the 5th and 6th. Was the 7th floor been vacant since 2017?
There were 2 tenants in there,
Got
they
it.
just said vacated, it just wasn't
Got
the
it.
Attorney General.
Understood.
And to answer just one other point on the finance, if we were to finance this project the way it is today, one of the key, numbers that we look at is that debt service coverage ratio. We have to get to a 1.2 or lender, and it goes less than that. So currently, on what our projected budget is for 2025, we would only be able to support $1 million in debt on this project, the rest would have to be cash. So as a living point, if we're to move forward with this project, as a whole different finance package, and our lender's gonna wanna know that we have support to be able to convert it from current use, which is first, 5th, 6th, and 7th floor commercial, the rest residential, to primarily 90% residential building, first floor commercial. Just a different appraisal, different refinance package.
yeah, but, I mean, wouldn't you be going on the projected numbers anyway? I mean, it's like a real estate development project.
Well, done a few of those.
Yeah, I've looked at.
And our challenge is we don't have numbers that we can input into a pro forma because the tax load is so far beyond what's industry standard right now. So we
Based on the
are,
product that you have now?
we've submitted our numbers right now. We're still, the project is, underwater this year.
Yeah, $370,000 is
Lost.
But that's on the current cash flow. I mean, that's not a projected cash flow with the new apartments and all
Yep,
that.
even if we were to refinance at a $1 million debt, we'd then be looking at a loss of about $130,000 a year. And that's at a refinance, but then the owner has to put in, pay off those loans that we have, refinance if they even want to, $1 million in debt, and then we'd be losing still $120,000 a year. I believe that was all in our application, the numbers. I'm not sure how this was shared with you guys, but there was a form that projected that out.
So that, those tax numbers and the ability to make the real estate development projection, palatable for a lender is highly dependent on our expense and cash flow. The tax is a huge piece of that, and right now it's just an unknown. We don't know what numbers to plug in. And if this project is so, like, thin, difficult, right? There's already so much cash investment that moving it, a few percentage points one way or the other makes an enormous difference about the decision to invest that much.
When is our meeting in January is gonna be, probably like the 17th or something around there? Are we able to get into we have a subcommittee on the board that meets, regarding the pilot applications. Are we able to meet with that like the first week back?
Yes.
I mean,
We'll pull together all the information that we've got, assemble it, make the most sense out of it that we can, sitting down with you and Stephanie, and you and the finance committee.
and then because that'll give us enough time to, if there's anything else we want to see before the meeting, we still have a few weeks
Yeah.
to get to that. So we should, make that effort to meet as soon as we're back in after the new year, so, whatever date that is, like the 5th or the week of the 5th or something.
We can get better prepared with the application we're talking about for the Sage property as well. We might be able to kill as many birds as possible and take a look at the petition to move that forward too.
Yeah. Well, again, this isn't up for the vote today for the authorizing project resolution. And I moved it to this part of the meeting just in case it's hard to tell if members of the public listening or not are here for this particular project. So unless there's any further questions until we get to that subcommittee meeting, I'm gonna move on from this and start the agenda back over at minutes. Any further questions from the board while we have them here? Otherwise, gonna move on from this one. No vote today for this. Okay?
Thank you
Yeah.
all, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, we appreciate your efforts.
Yep, we'll talk soon. Thank you for moving into January. We'll now circle back. We've got a full agenda today. We're going to go with the approval of the meeting minutes from November 15th. Present here. This was, Michael, were you at that meeting?
That's a special meeting?
No.
That was on the first, I believe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been here for
Yeah,
everything
that's
except for
what I
that
was
one
thinking.
special meeting.
Okay, so everyone here can vote on that. We just have two absences that were from Ryan and Sue. So do we have a motion to approve the minutes or any questions or comments and amendments to make to them?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we just have the two absences. On to the empty chair for the executive director's report.
We can pull that one. He's catching up with them quickly and do that.
Okay.
It's hard to hear,
Well, on to the, we just move on?
New business.
Yeah, new business, we'll find,
You're good.
just go to new business we have a new application, for 3945 Congress Street, RDC Holdings LLC. This is the initial project resolution, the application. We have a representative here that is able to present. Yes, I see you, yes, great. If you'd like to take a few minutes, introduce yourself, present on the project, and then we'll fill in any questions we have.
Do have a brief presentation. I can kind of share my screen. I'm in the meeting. One moment.
Oh, Joe, yeah. I thought that was like a different person.
Nope, that's just me waiting my turn.
Okay.
Okay. Morning to the board. My name is Joe Pernicero. I'm here with Redburn Development, which is the parent company behind the applicant on your application, RGC Troy Holdings. I've been with Redburn for about 5 years. I kind of run the new development part of the business. So all of our new projects, we were here last year. Some of the board members, I believe, for our Catholic High project, which we're just finishing up. Our residents moving in shortly after New Year. Really impressed with how it came out. This is our new project, which we're under contract to purchase. It is 3945 Congress Street. It's the old Manning and Ricketts Hall that Russell Sage built. You know, as been made public, the college is selling 2 buildings. We're only purchasing this one, and not purchasing the one there across the corner where Brugger's used to be. So game plan for today, just to give a brief introduction to the project. I know this is the first time you've seen it. Answer any questions. We'll go from there. There's a lag on my, there we go. Just to familiarize yourself, right on Congress Street, across from Russell Sage's main campus, across from Sage Park. It takes up almost the whole half block there from 2nd Street to Freer Alley. It was built as 2 buildings. Since combined into one, they connect on the basement, both with an inner atrium and both 4 floors plus a basement. I mentioned it was built in 1965 by the college. The college has done a tremendous job. All the credit in the world to them maintaining this building. It really is in tremendous shape as far as the structure of it. You know, quite a bit of improvements need to happen on the inside, but the exterior masonry and the overall structure is really well maintained. Some background on us, if you're not familiar, you know, Redburn is a Troy-based development company. They've been in business since 2014, 15. Primarily doing historic tax credit projects in Troy, Albany, and Schenectady, a few elsewhere. I mentioned the Catholic High project, which we're finishing up. We typically focus on market rate workforce housing. This project is even diving deeper into that. All these apartments will be between 60 to 80% of the area median income. You know, this is certainly not a luxury product, but we don't really do luxury housing. We try to hit that missing middle between low-income housing and luxury. And then obviously, you know, I mentioned it last time I was here, you know, we pride ourselves on being good neighbors. You know, our office is 2 blocks north of here. You know, we're not going anywhere, and we want to create spaces that people like and are good for the neighborhood, and people want to live there. The building is a little over 50,000 square feet. I mentioned it's 4 floors plus the basement. We'll have 71 apartments here when we're all done. Our major scope is installation of a sprinkler system. Right now, the building is not sprinklered. There's some improvements to the roof that need to happen. In the basement and on that 1st floor, it's a more conventional construction of full apartments. The college is using those spaces for some teaching space, some staff offices. And then floors 2 through 4 are where the dormitories were. And on the upper floors there, simply put, it's 2 dorms that were shared by a common bath will become 1 apartment. So you'll have a shared kitchen and living area, your bathroom, and then a 1-bedroom. And that's pretty typical as you move through the building. We'll also have resident amenities such as a fitness center, game room, roof deck, you know, all the things that people come to expect now in an apartment building. No exterior or site changes. As I mentioned, the site and exterior is in really good shape. A couple photos of the building there. This is standing across Congress Street in front of Sage Park. Photo on the left is looking south down 2nd Street. And then photo on the right is in Freer Alley, looking north back towards the college. Really, you know, besides some washing of the masonry, again, really no exterior work. Some more details. Our rents there, we have starting below $1,000, creeping up towards $1,300 for some of the larger units. We will manage this property ourselves through our sister company, Stratus Property Management. We share an office with them in Troy. Total project cost, which, you know, you have all the numbers in your application, is just over $8 million. Right now, obviously, the project property is 100% tax exempt. It's owned by the college. We do not pay any taxes on the building. The goal here for us is obviously to get this building back on the tax rolls incrementally and kind of build it back up so where it's paying its full tax burden over time. As far as our timeline, we introduced the project to the Troy Planning Board earlier this week. They declared themselves lead agency, deemed our application complete. It has been determined that we'll have to go to the zoning board in January for an area variance. That's just due to the new zoning code. There's a section in there that requires the average square footage of the units to be 700 square feet. We are below that. Our average square footage is about 518, just due to the existing nature of the dormitory. These are smaller units. We will utilize historic tax credits. We're already working with SHPO. We've already submitted our design to them. We've already received initial feedback. We're working on some minor revisions for them. After that, we'll go to MPS. And then hopefully, if everything goes well, we're starting shortly after the new year and closing on the building in February or March. And, the whole thing will be done by the end of next year. I think that's all I have for it. I know the application is the first time you're seeing it. I don't know if you've had a chance to absorb everything, but I'm happy to answer any questions on the project, the company, anything you might have.
When exactly did you go under contract to purchase the property?
End of August.
And then when was the application for the mortgage submitted?
As in for our financing to a bank?
Yes.
We just began discussions with the bank, probably November, last month.
Last month?
Yep.
And was the the mortgage application submitted contingent upon additional assistance from this board?
It was, and I want to clarify, we have not made a formal application to the bank yet. We have submitted our documents, and they are doing some underwriting. But yes, our underwriting presented to the bank did include financial assistance from the IDA. Projected, for estimated financial assistance.
And like the state historic tax credit.
And the state and federal historic tax credits, yep. Yeah, we are, underwriting the project as if we get, what we need to do it. Obviously, if we don't get the tax credits or, financial assistance from the IDA, we can move forward with the project.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The project you did at the old Catholic High,
Yep.
what's the average square foot for those units?
Those ones are just over 700. I believe it's 704, but, that's testing my knowledge there.
What's your basis for seeking historic tax credits on the building?
So we submitted an application to SHPO and MPS. They've deemed the building historic already, as being part of the college's history, built in 1965. At this point, it's going to be 60 years old next year. So really, the basis of that narrative was just its history as part of the college, and the college is important to the city of Troy.
Are they going to be pretty common? Are they going to be sticklers about the glass block or anything like that?
They will make us keep the glass block. Almost all the glass block windows have a viewing pane that's operable in the middle of them, which we'll clean up and repair as needed. But yeah, they make it.
Yeah, no, I'm assuming that comes with no alterations to the fenestration or anything like that.
Correct, yeah.
Love that part.
They do, yeah. We have a building in Albany that's all glass block.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you haven't officially started the mortgage application, when does the current mortgage contingency expire for the contract for sale?
So our contract, we have a due diligence period that extends into the new year. That allows us the time to get the assistance we need, get the approvals we need from the planning board, zoning board, as well as our loan from a bank. We're in that due diligence period yet.
Are you using a local bank?
Yep, yeah, we are. I don't know. It might be on the application, but we have submitted it to a local bank, yes. That we've done lots of business with in the past.
I'm curious, I guess I don't know how we can necessarily get more information from this or verify this. Part of my homework, I want to look back at the previous applications. Like I see you have one full-time person at $60K for this building. I think that's about what you did for Catholic High too, was another full-time person. And can you just explain, how does that, this person are they locked to this building, or is this, you're just gonna add someone else to payroll that's on your maintenance staff? And they kind of service everything?
So typically, yeah, because of this project, we'll be adding one person to the staff, for the, the property management company will be adding somebody to their staff, correct?
Are they Redbird employees, or is this, like a third party?
They would be an employee of the property management company, which is,
Got it.
it's a sister company of Redfern.
RPS is now rebranded, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stratus Property Management.
Same ownership?
Same ownership group, yep.
How many projects do you currently have under pilot in Troy?
What's that?
How many properties do you have pilot agreements on in Troy currently?
So let's see, Catholic High, obviously, 701 River Street, where our offices are, and then across the street from that is, we call it School 1, I believe the application was 29, 25? Yeah, the old School 1, so those three.
This would be your
I
fourth?
think there was one on the hill as well, the College Suites or...
Yes, Valley Green,
Yeah.
up by Hudson Valley.
Yeah.
Does that, I don't know if that one has a pilot. It may, that one I may be missing.
Yeah, it's
Is
right
that
on
from
the
the city
city
or
line, yeah. It might have gone to the county IDA because it was, literally, the building was split by the town line.
Well, yeah, it's not on our reporting.
Yeah, I would have to check on that one. I don't know that.
And I think you guys have one on River as well with the county IDA,
So, no longer on that building. I don't
Oh,
know
you're out of
yeah,
that one?
I don't know that
Okay.
the new owners have pilot on that or not. That's, 172 River.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. I think we have 3 on our portfolio right now.
Yeah, if you were to, yeah, but we both prepared for 3. That's why the Hudson Valley one isn't with us.
Okay.
Any occupancy rates for those?
On the residential side, it's very strong. Across our whole portfolio, not just Troy, but including Albany and Schenectady. We stay around a 95% residential occupancy. I wish I could say the same for the retail and commercial, but I think everyone is aware of the market here, the struggles we have with that.
Yeah, the only commercial you have in Troy is the gym. Right?
Well, and then the whole first floor of 701 River. which
Oh, right,
if
right,
it
where your
wasn't-
office-
If it wasn't for our offices, we do have vacant commercial space there as well, and then we take up a big chunk of that. And then the gym, as you mentioned, at Catholic High, which we've
Is
had.
Massive Mesh still in your?
Massive Mesh is with us as well, so it's us, Massive Mesh, a small photographer, and then a cybersecurity company, and then we have one vacant space, it's quite large at 701. And then the gym at Catholic High, which we've listed, for commercial lease. Had a few interested parties, but haven't been able to nail anybody down yet.
Well, the application is in order this time for everything.
Yeah, they're in good shape.
So thank you for that.
Help for a project.
Yeah. It's about time, right? We've done it a couple times.
And, I mean, do we have any other questions from the board before just pushing this off to the next meeting? Again, we'll have the finance subcommittee, at the beginning of the year, and we'll be looking at this one as well. Any more questions or comments? Do we have a motion to approve the application?
Are all your properties under separate real estate holding companies?
They are in their own LLCs, yes.
Yeah, okay, all right.
All owned, all works its way up to the same.
Yeah, just,
Can Matt give any, confirmation on the status of any, outstanding payments or delinquencies for
Good question.
Redburn?
There's not for Redbird.
None?
Historically?
There might have been like a month behind or something like that, but they're all caught up. They're usually pretty prompt on payment.
701 had an interesting history with a fire and
I
going back
remember
online
that.
and stuff like that, and the board worked with them through that process to get it
Very
restacked.
grateful, that was,
It was a tough one.
yeah. Still all recovering from that.
Are you, with Catholic High, you had community meetings.
Mhm.
Are you doing something like that for this building?
We haven't, we certainly can, but, the Lansingburg community, kind of more tight-knit in that sense. People that have been there a very long time. We felt it, and also, we felt the need to do that there. We haven't yet, just because, the few people we've talked to, or more receptive, I'll say. You know, just introducing it at the planning board, we didn't really have anybody show up to, you know, object to the project. From what I've seen, you know, the response has been positive.
Are you concerned about parking here?
We're not, just because of what we see in our other downtown portfolios. You know, we submitted a traffic study and parking demand report to the planning board, which I can share with this board as well. That says between the city's garages, available street parking, and then, you know, we're gonna look into the CDTA universal access pass. We haven't done before in any of our projects. This one seems to call for it. We're not worried about parking though.
I mean, it's neither here nor there for our requirements of the IDA, but I do think that I did really appreciate, having been a resident of Lansingburg at the time of that project, having those community meetings. So I had just personally, I mean, I'd love to see that with every developer on every project, but again, that's more planning related than it is, IDA application, but
Yeah, I think
that was a very helpful part of that process.
I agree. We've done one since there as well. That, you know, so the neighborhood down at that Cathcart project has been really helpful. With the way we worked with them was good. I can ask if we can do it. We're here too.
I mean, that's my concern with this property, because there's a lot of residential apartments around it.
There is,
Around there.
and they're building more.
Yeah.
That's Congress Street. I mean, it's a busy street, so, I mean.
Anything else anyone wants to see for the presentation with the public hearing and everything, or?
You've said this, but how many dorm rooms were in there?
So I believe it was 84 dorms,
Okay.
and then the basement they were using for their physical therapy, occupational therapy department, and then the first floor, kind of all staff offices.
In the plan, you wouldn't have anything by next meeting for like preliminary floor. I mean, what you showed didn't have, like when you went in front of planning, are you able to present at the next meeting the overview of like what the floor plan layout is gonna be?
Yeah, and I think that may have been submitted with our application. These are concepts.
Yeah, just thinking for the
And I did,
presentation portion, and also I mean, do you have any renderings of like the rooftop deck, all that stuff you guys are planning?
the team's working on it, and by next meeting I can have them pull something together for me.
Well, this is like, and just getting the MEPs for, 71 bathrooms is, that
Yeah.
kind of thing is
So,
complex. So.
Yeah, I probably won't have all my MEP drawings by next meeting, but I can certainly, I did receive my permit set on the architectural side earlier this week, so I can send those over, and then I can have them put together something on the amenities, absolutely.
Any other questions?
Or motion to approve the application? And we'll put them to the ringer in a month.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Stephanie. Have a second? Thank you, Alex. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed?
Opposed.
And we have 2 absences, so does that carry?
We have 5 and
Yeah,
then 1?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the application carries for, 3945 Congress Street. Sorry, I want to call it something else. On to,
Thank you very
well,
much, Mike.
yeah, thank you.
That's true.
Backwards to Executive Director's report.
Thank you. You said you have a traffic study?
Traffic study and parking demand management.
Yeah, can you submit that?
Yep, I'll make sure.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. That's all part of their planning packet.
It's alternate side of the street parking there, man.
My daughter lives 2 blocks away. Has to
I
park
run through there all the
4
time in the
blocks away
morning,
most
6 o'clock in the
occasions.
morning. Those roads are packed.
What do you got for us,
man.
Randy? Sorry, we have to jump around again.
No, that's fine. So the only thing I have is just, an update on we still haven't gone to, contract with Form Router. Thanks again to the board for providing the resources for us to do that, but, Justin, you and I have to get that
to the point where we can actually get them working for us.
Right.
So, other than that, we're gonna be pretty busy after the New Year's with the 2 projects we just heard about today.
We technically can't have a financial committee and have enough, like, the limited number of people we can have, and that is, can't meet with a quorum, so 5.
Yeah, so I think we
But
still
it's-
could meet in 3s and 4s and.
Yeah, but is anybody interested? Last meeting, Stephanie mentioned wanting to be on that. She'll be there at the next meeting.
I don't know if I'm even gonna be on this next year. We'll have,
As of January, or?
I think I just got a year, didn't I? I don't know.
Oh,
I'll talk to Danae.
well, just if,
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
yeah, just if Michael, Tosh, or Alex, if anybody wants to participate in that, just let us know. You don't have to right now, but just if that's something you're interested in, just shoot an email. But we just have to limit it to, like, 4 people. We're at 3 right now. I guess that's old business, and your executive director's report, kind of looped in. You weren't here for the executive director. So anything else?
On the CRC, or did we move that off of the, oh,
We had to go,
You were
we had to
saying
go
goodbye to
forward, because
our,
you were saying goodbye, so do
we
you have anything
we
else for
punted on
your?
on the report.
oh, other than what I just said?
Yeah,
No.
okay.
Well done.
Just making sure, yeah, so that also concludes
Yeah.
the form router portion of the old business. Sorry for the confusing agenda mix-up, guys, my fault more than anyone's. On to financials with Matt.
Our first report is the statement of financial position. As of November 30th, we had total assets of $1,008,303, with $909,217 of that cash. We had total liabilities of $35,241, which left us with a fund balance of $973,052. That is no significant financial position in November. And lastly, our last quarter is the statement of activity. For the month of November, we had a surplus of $7,402.10. The most significant source of revenue was in our application fees, and our largest expenses were our legal fees.
So who's late?
Chestnut Burr, and they have paid the pilot and all related late fees.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions for Matt? Can you remind me what the grants for local eco development is?
I know, I can look into that.
If no other questions, does anybody have a motion to approve financials for,
I'll make the motion.
Over, second?
I'll second.
Stephanie, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we just have the 2 absences. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 This concludes our meeting. Red.
Hanging up?